kicks, the pain we can't hush. And then they find us, we're the real tough guys, breaking down barriers, we aim for the skies. Into the octagon, like a warrior I stand, slaying blows, taking hits as I command. The art of combat, I'm ready to go. Submission, knockout, that's how I flow. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling might, the golden octagon, the stage we ignite. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling might, the golden octagon, the stage we ignite.
And we are live. Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast with your hosts, Matt and D Rose.
What's happening? Where are we at? What's going on, everyone? We missed y'all. We're glad we are back, but I missed seeing all of you down in the chat. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. If you don't know, my name is Matt. D Rose is right on that side of the screen. And D Rose, it was terrible this past 30 seconds, dude. I had this feeling like I was going to sneeze, and I'm like this, come on, just hurry up and sneeze so I can start the podcast. And then 2 seconds, it just went away right before the podcast starts. So I'm like this, okay, here we go. I have to sneeze, man. I don't know what happened.
Burning and everything.
Yeah, dude. Anyway, we are back, D Rose. I am glad to be back. I'm glad to see you sitting across from me on the other side of the screen. We've been gone for 2 weeks, man, and although there's been no UFC fights that have happened over this past 2 weeks, there's been quite a bit of news and quite a bit of other kinds of fights going on. So what we are going to go over on today's show is we are going to, where's my banners at? We are going to recap just all of the fights that happened over the past 2 weeks. That means UFC Shanghai. We'll talk about the main points from that, but it was a few weeks ago now, so who really cares at this point? But we do have to cover a few things, and one of us have to eat beans. We will be covering DBX from this past weekend, DBX 3, Mike Perry's thing, and then I'm sure we'll talk about the boxing matches that happened between Tony Ferguson and Salt Poppy and Darren Till, Luke Rockhold. So quite a bit going on, and then we'll talk about all the news that has happened since we've been gone as well, D Rose. So quite a bit going on, but I guess we'll go ahead and start at UFC Shanghai. Pretty much the main things I want to talk about is, I'm not going to hide from it. I'm not going to run from it. I'm not going to act like it didn't happen, D Rose. Why is it that every time I am so confident, there is zero chance, this fighter loses, dude, that fighter loses. At UFC Shanghai, too, dude, I did it again. I bet more than $50, dude. I was so confident. I was like, Michel Pereira and what's his name? Zhang Mingyang. These two fighters have zero chance of losing. I wake up at 3:45 in the morning. I missed the first two fights. Okay, cool. A lot of my parlays were already, busted. But the two fights that I was really invested in hadn't happened yet. And the first one was Michel Pereira. So I waited there, dude. I woke up at 3:45 in the morning to watch Kyle Daukaus knock out Michel Pereira. And dude, that was the first time Michel Pereira's ever even been dropped in the UFC. Like I am just disgusted, dude. I cannot believe I woke up early for that mess. So did I chase? Of course I chased, dude. Chased on the rest of the card, and it came down to the main event where it's like, Johnny Walker's got no chance of winning this fight, right? And if he does, he'll win by submission, right? Like that's his only chance. So I put $5 on Johnny Walker by sub, and then Zhang Minyang, KO round 1, and on everything else. The fight starts, and Johnny Walker comes out, shoots a takedown, and ends up on bottom, and just pretty much stays there the entire round, dude. So all my round 1 Zhang bets all lose. I'm just mad at that. And then Johnny Walker proceeds to knock out Ming Yang Zhang instead of submitting him, dude. So it's like 6:45 in the morning on a Saturday at that. I don't have to work. And I'm just mad as if I'm at work, dude. UFC Shanghai was not a good card for me, to say the least. And I swear, every time I bet more than $50, dude, the fighters lose. I don't know what it is, man. I was so confident. I'm like, I can't lose this one, right? No, I can lose that one. I can't lose that one. So the fisting of the week. For the second time, D-Rose, for the second time that we've been doing the fisting of the week, does not cash. The fisting of the week gets fisted himself. Crazy to say, man. Crazy to say.
That was rough. That was rough to watch. And man, I was super confident in Zhang. And when Johnny Walker shot for that takedown or went to do I don't know what he did. He just kind of fell on his back after. I don't know if he pulled guard or what it was, but when he ended up on bottom, I was just like, oh yeah, Zhang Minyang is now going to pound his head in, and it's over. Yeah, I was like, he's going to end it right here. And when he didn't, yeah, I was the nail biting started to ensue because I was like, man, is he going to gas? He doesn't really get out of the first round. So he gets out of the first round. He looks okay. Okay, maybe he won the first round, but starting to look a little bit slower. And yeah, freaking leg kick, dude, out of all the things. But it was a money shot from Johnny Walker, so I can't fault him for that. Just a good shot there. But yeah, Zhang Minyang, I still think he'll be back. I don't think it's a super damaging loss by any means. Just one of those losses. And yeah, for Michel Pereira, that was just a rough loss, man. And a guy who, just a couple fights ago, it just felt like he had the world in front of him before that Fluffy Hernandez fight. And I almost wondered to a certain extent if that fight might have just broke his spirit, because he was out of that fight from the jump outside of the first minute and a half when he hurt Fluffy to the body. And he just got walloped on ever since. And he just hasn't fought the same ever since then. So I don't know if that fight ever did anything to Michel Pereira mentally to where it's just gotten him to where he doesn't pull the trigger at all anymore. And now his chin's gone as well. I don't want to say gone because it was a good shot from Kyle Dawkins, but it's a good story for Kyle Dawkins to get back into the UFC and get a good win over a good guy. So yeah, cool story there, but just very surprising to see where Michel Pereira has landed after everything.
Yeah, man, just a bummer, and just to get it off the table before we forget to talk about it, the fight for the pick champ this past weekend. As you see, I don't have a whole different chair here. I'm already packed up. I don't have the pick champ here. It's packed up in a box, but I'm the pick champ this week, just so you know, because the different pick, there was only one this past weekend, was Gage Young versus Mahashate. So D Rose is the loser this week for the pick champ. So your boy over here, still the pick champ. It feels wrong not having the belt here, dude. I might have to go unpack it just to. I think I know where it's at, dude. It just feels wrong. I might have to have it here for next week after I win it, just so I can feel all right, man. Because I don't feel like I'm the pick champ if I don't have the belt, dude. I don't know. Anyway, so D Rose got to eat beans this week. Luckily, Yeah. If I would have had to eat beans, I still have said beans. So D-Rose, you don't have to eat the beans yet if you don't want to. We can run through the rest of the fights, and you can save them until right before we hit the news.
Yeah, let's do that. Let me
Let you
warm
warm
up.
up a little bit. All right.
Yeah, let me warm up. We're 10 minutes in. We usually do it about 20 minutes in. So let me warm up just a little bit.
Yeah, man. All right. So yeah, with that being said, we had two weeks of Dana White's Contender Series. I don't really remember off the top of my head what happened 2 weeks ago, but I remember watching it last night. D Rose, did you get to watch DWCS last night?
I did get to watch it last night, and it was a very good night of fights. And the week before was also a very good week when there was nothing but finishes that week as well. So yeah, bunch of good finishes in the last couple of weeks.
I think I actually hit a bet last week, which had me fiending for fights over this past weekend, dude. Like, I didn't even win a lot. I was just ready to bet it, whenever I had a chance. I was just ready to fire. And then I lost like $40 last night on Contender Series, and I was not happy about that. But I think it was because I think I need the main event to start round 2, and that did not happen. Dude got fucking smoked like bad. Like, he was like out on the feet. I was like, well, that didn't start round 2.
Dude, with that foot wrapped around homeboy's head, at the beginning, as Antoine's saying, John Paul there in the main event, dude, that he went jab head kick. It kind of landed the back of the head, but hey, who cares? It's a highlight reel. So the dude ends up on the chicken legs then, so he's just or baby deer legs, just kind of just looking like he's drunk. And dude,
the ref was just like, finish him.
Ran full speed at him and threw a freaking punch at him, looking like he's playing Super Smash Brothers. Like, dude, that was a highlight reel. Like, it literally looked like Mario running through on Super Smash Brothers and just delivering one of them big punches there, knocking the guy off the board. I need to see somebody do an edit like that, but yeah, that main event finish was absolutely nasty.
Yeah, man. And one fighter that stands out to me personally was Rat Garbage from last night, right? Like the 36-year-old dude that, like the Dana White was like, "Yep, get over here, dude. I don't like your age, but I like how you fight, dude."
Yeah,
that dude might be a problem, dude.
Dude,
he's a big lightweight, dude. He's a lightweight.
Dude, I swear I thought it was welterweight. Like, when they were fighting, because I told you that I started, usually I wait until about an hour in, and ESPN Plus will give you an option to start the program from the beginning. And usually what I do, I fast forward through all them talking in the back and stuff like that, and I literally just get to the fight. So at the beginning of the fight, sometimes I get to the beginning of the fight to where I don't see what weight class the guys are in. So when I'm seeing Rat Garbage in there, I'm thinking he's 170. I'm not thinking he's 155. So when they said after the fact that he's a 155er, I was like, yo, this dude's crazy. I mean, his kicks were lethal. That front kick, he kept landing that front kick, cut open his opponent with one of them. And it was a combination that he ended up having. Mandel Nalo did. He had this combination where he threw like a leg kick, and then he jumped back and then threw like a question mark kick like right behind it. Like, dude, it was so it was just clean the way he was setting everything up. He even said like, "Hey, I'm 36 years old. I know I'm not a prospect, but hey, I'm not a prospect. I'm ready to fight with the top guys now. Throw me in there and see what I can do." And man, I'll definitely be excited. I'll be looking out for Mandel Nalo too, because I am with you. I think him, and honestly, I think the other guy that I was really impressed with as well is I'm sure you probably heard of him before coming in, but Tommy McMillan, man, that was a dude underdog coming in, and went through the fire against David McGoyan, dude, because dude, David McGoyan
head twisted off.
Dude, like I thought, like if that was like an old school movie, like the way his neck was positioned, that would have broke his neck and killed him. Like
Yeah.
you know the old movies where they just twist their head and they just fall over. Like that's how McMillan's head was when he was in that guillotine. He was rocked on the feet. He could not stand. And for him to weather that storm in the first round, which was, in my opinion, I did think it was a 10-8 round, but for him to weather that storm, come back in the last 2 rounds, and he won the second round. In that third round, McMillan put it on McGoyan. Like he put it on him in the third round.
I would say it was a close round until about the 4-minute mark, and then he was like cheering up the crowd, and then like fucking walking forward. And then I was like, even if he wasn't winning, he is now, just because it looks like that he is like, and
Yes.
that clearly won him the round.
Yes. Yeah, well that, and I think he was just walking forward on him there. You know, McGoyan looked like he did go for the finish there early and did get a little bit exhausted. I mean, 21 years old, so you know, probably hadn't experienced too much adversity in the octagon. So just a little bit of adversity there. I was super impressed with both of the guys in that performance. I was hoping that Dana might have given both the guys the contract just with the way McGoyan fought. But I'm sure McGoyan, we're going to see his name come up again on the Contender Series. Then I think he's going to get another win and make his way to the UFC because that dude's good as well. But shout out to Tommy McMillan because guts, dude, the guts on that guy to push through and get that win was impressive.
Yeah, I was worried that it was going to be a draw, though, to be honest. Like, I was like, that first round could have easily been a 10-8.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, I thought it was, and one of the judges did think so. You know, it came down to a majority decision. You know, one of the judges had it a draw, which one round, the first round would be a 10-8, and then the other would be 10-9 for McMillan. But luckily, in his favor, that the judges had the other two for the first round to be a 10-9 instead of a 10-8.
Yeah, man. So before we get into our, I guess, I don't know if it's MMA. Well, one of them is boxing, but I don't even know what DBX is. It's dirty boxing, but it's like half MMA, half boxing. So before we do that, let's jump into the chat real quick, D-Rose. We only got 2 watchers tonight. What's going on? Make sure y'all hit that like button. Get us back in the YouTube algorithm. Our show's just not popping up for anyone to watch tonight. What's going on, Antoine? How you doing? Have y'all ever had a real baguette? No, I've never been to France, man. Antoine is exhausted from work. We got a super lit show. Lots of fights going to change MMA forever. Maybe. Also, D-Rose, massive spotlight tomorrow night. How's it going to be? While I click through the rest of these real quick.
Man, yeah, I don't think it's going to go well for my boys. As much as I would love for it to, and you know, it's against the Eagles as well, so I would love to see them take the win there. But man, it's just going to be tough. First game of the year, Super Bowl champs in their stadium. That's a tough feat for your first game.
Yeah, man. So with that being said, we'll move on. What do you want to start? DBX, or do you want to start the Misfits boxing, dude?
We can do a little DBX.
All right, cool. Well, I just want to say that, you know, not having any fights this past weekend, I have to say I was rather entertained because what was it? Friday night? Yeah, Friday night was DBX, man. And dude, I watched those from 7:30 all the way to the end of them, man. I was thoroughly impressed by Mike Perry's promotion, dude. That was the first time that I had personally watched it. And the rule set's cool because you see a lot of these boxers try to take a knee to go down, and it's like, if you do that, brother, you're cooked, because then you're just gonna get ground and pounded, man. I love to see it. You can also throw elbows too, so that's pretty cool, dude. Like, I'm a fan of DBX. I will continue to watch these, and I think the next one is like 2 months away, so I'm down for it. I wish I could find a place to bet it though, because man, I was like spot on with like almost all these fights, dude. And I was like, gee, god damn it. But you know, it is what it is. Fun to watch. Glad I got to watch some kind of fights this past weekend. What do you think about DBX, man?
Yeah, no, I thought DBX was a good card, and had a couple of good performances on there. I didn't watch all the fights, but I did, they did do a pretty good job at kind of condensing their highlights and made it easy to watch all the way
I
through.
mean, it was a
Uh,
lot of round one KOs, dude. So
yeah, no, exactly. It was a lot. It was a lot of round one KOs. I thought it was just a lot of fights for what it is. I
dude, it
figured
went from like 7:30 to like midnight, like it's like a
yeah,
full UFC card. Like
right,
I was like,
yeah,
what the hell?
exactly. And it's almost like instead of like doing it like every couple months or whatever they're doing it as, why not take some of those fights, split it up, and maybe do more shows? I mean, I know it's probably not as easy as just snapping your finger and having the availability, but yeah, especially if they're starting to get
Like
traction.
there,
The card this
there
past week,
had
it
to have
had a lot of
been
action on it.
there had to have been like 15, 17 fights, dude. Like
Right.
there was a lot of fights, and like they were just quick, like one after another.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, if you can condense that to even 8 or 9 fights or something like that, you can knock it out in what, 2 hours, quick little watch there, or that's an easy go back and watch on YouTube or something like that. Maybe split it up, have more shows, and maybe get a little bit more traction. Because I did see a lot of people talking about it as well. And Brian Battle, he went in. I know he fought a can. He fought an absolute
Dude,
can.
that dude, I don't even know if that was a can, man. Like it's like that wasn't even. I don't know if that guy had ever even exercised in his life, dude. It's like that is like one of those dudes that like fucking sit on the couch and like I can beat that guy's ass, and like fucking some guy was like, oh yeah, well I know a promoter trying to get a guy fight at 185 this weekend. How much you weigh? He's like, I'll weigh 182. I'll just eat a big breakfast. And then like he went in there to fight Brian Battle like that, dude.
Yeah, no, the thing is, I think Brian Battle even acknowledged, like, he was like, yeah, this guy's MMA record is like 3-9, but I'm gonna treat him like he's 9-3, or
That dude won?
yeah,
That dude beat
no,
somebody?
yeah,
Dude,
I was definitely surprised.
give me my first pro fight, dude, against that guy.
Make your DBX debut against that dude. And also shout out Dustin Bailey who fought on the DBX
Hell
card
yeah,
as well.
dude.
Badass knockout. He's a local dude from our area down here in
Dude,
Christiansburg,
we went to
Virginia.
high school with him.
Yeah, we went to high school with him. He was on my my 8th grade football, or my 7th grade football team, my rec league team.
Okay.
Which
So did he not play when he went to
so
8th
he's
grade?
a year younger than us. So
Yeah,
when
so
we
he-
were in 8th, we wouldn't have been on the same team because he
Oh,
didn't
no?
move up. And then after that, I
Gotcha.
think after like middle school, he pretty much put a focus on wrestling because he
Yeah.
wanted to be he has been a fighter for a little bit, off and on, but he's been taking some boxing matches. But yeah, Dustin, nasty knockout, dude. I mean, honestly, might have had the best knockout, or at least had the
Dude,
most
he had the
viral
dude
moment
crawling
on
out of the
card.
ring.
Yeah, literally had his opponent crawling out the ring, and then his opponent was fighting the security after the fight because he was trying to basically go back in, and he was pissed that they wouldn't let him back into the ring or whatnot. So yeah, I thought it was absolutely hilarious. And then the security guards like trying to fight the dude after that. Like he's like, don't fuck with me, don't fuck with me. And he's throwing his spit and stuff like that because I guess the homeboy punched him in his mouth. Which is absolutely hilarious. But yeah, shout out Dustin, dude, nasty knockout. And yeah, hopefully more to come from him. He said he's got some he said he's supposed to have another fight scheduled with him. So we'll see.
Yeah, man. How'd you like Jairzinho Rosenstruck?
Yeah, I mean, dude, pretty much like what was it? The first punch he landed, like he ended up putting dude out, and it was like his thumb hit the guy like in the back of his ear. Like it wasn't even like.
I still can't believe the UFC cut him, dude. Like after a win, too, dude.
Yeah, no, he lost to Pavlovich on his way out, right?
Oh yeah, but I thought that he beat
Ty, and then he had the fight
and
against.
then he beat the Blob. He beat the Blob on his way out, and then they cut him.
Blogoy?
Fucking like Shamil Gaziev.
No, that was the Pavlovich fight was after the fight.
Yeah,
I think the Tai Tuivasa fight might have been after that one, but But yeah, he was coming off a loss, and Jairzinho did get to a point where his fight style was getting just a little bit stale. So I can see why they were ready to move on. But hey, DBX seemed to be a good landing ground for him, sort of like how BKFC has been with Mike Perry, because Jairzinho is going in here and crashing fools out real quick and getting some good results and getting paid in the process. So yeah, he's making out well.
Yeah, two more ex-UFC fighters that I would like to talk about. Did you see Jessica Rose Clark, like in there, like beating the brakes like off that girl?
I did see some of her highlights. I didn't actually watch the whole fight. I was surprised to actually see.
Yeah, that one didn't go to knockout. So yeah, so that's fine. I mean, she was always a clean boxer. It's just when you can take her down in armbar, she's like Molly McCann, dude. Nah, good. Beat boss up, dude. And then the last one that I remember seeing was Chase Sherman, dude. I saw Chase Sherman at DBX in there getting molly-whopped up, dude, wobbling all around the ring still. It's like, dude, some of these people just need to hang it up. Oh, one more fighter. I saw Phil Hawes fighting too, dude. And, dude.
Also getting wobbled.
He looked good in the first round. He had solid head movement in the first round. Round two, it's like he got hit one time, and the rest of the round, it was like him just trying to stay up. Like it's almost like his legs were chasing his body. Like he's like fucking falling over, and his legs are like trying to like hop to keep up, dude. That's what it looked like. I just kind of felt bad for Phil Hawes, dude. He just keeps getting cracked at this point, man. But yeah, anything else for DBX?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it for me.
All right, and then Misfits Boxing, the only two really that I would like to talk about, or I even really know to talk about, is Tony Ferguson versus Salt Poppy. This is your guy, so I'm gonna let you have the floor, D Rose, and just let the people hear it, man.
Yeah, no, I was nervous about Tony taking the fight, not even thinking that Salt Poppy was like this dangerous, super lethal guy, but just the fact that we've seen the way Tony has looked in his last few fights. Even just him just taking damage at this point has just been a little bit rough, but seeing him come through the way that he did, in the first two rounds, it was looking a little bit rough there for Tony, but you could see a little bit of that old Tony coming through. He was getting hit with some shots, because he did lead the fight with a black eye. He didn't come out the fight unscathed, but he was looking better as the fight went on, and it kind of reminded us of the old Tony where he just kind of eventually used that pressure on guys to break them late. So yeah, I love the way that Tony fought in the fight. And did I think that stoppage was a little bit early? Sure. Yeah, sure it was a little bit early, but I do think that it was still a good performance from Tony, and I honestly thought Tony was on his way to winning because it looked like Salt Poppy was gassing out there a little bit, and there was still in the third round he got the finish. There was still two more rounds to go when Tony was starting to take over. So I thought it would have only gotten worse for Salt Poppy. So bad stoppage in the moment, but I thought it was eventuality. But great performance from Tony. Love to see him get back, and him having that emotional moment, falling into the ring and crying and stuff like that. It felt awkward seeing it after a Salt Poppy win, but happy to see Tony happy nonetheless.
Yeah, you answered the question that I was going to ask was the early stoppage. But the other question I have is he done now, dude? Is he going to hang it up, or is he end up going to take another boxing match, dude? Because I would love to see Tony hang it up, dude.
It looks like he has been very adamant about keeping going, and he said that he likes boxing so far. So, well, I would say that if you're going to match him up against guys like Salt Poppy, that's who it needs to be.
I mean, but it's slowly going to get better, and there's only a certain level of, because if you look at it in theory, Salt Poppy's boxing record was better than Darren Till's boxing record, right? So that's, if he fights a UFC level fighter that's a boxer, that's a dangerous fight for him, dude.
I mean, yeah, potentially, but I would say, again, he's not getting exposed to the wrestling as much, and I mean, the knockout that he got from Chandler was the big boot, the Hulk Hogan style big boot. You're not gonna be able to do that in boxing, and
Yeah.
the knockout from Gaethje was just an accumulation of a damage, so. I would say that, in terms of his other losses, he was just getting dominated in the grappling. It just sucked to see the fall from grace that he took because he was the boogeyman. Like he was the boogeyman of the division, was the guy who was regarded as he was going to be the guy to beat Habib. Habib pulled out of multiple matchups against him because he didn't want to fight Tony and all this stuff. So we'd known him to be that guy, and to see him take all the losses that he did was rough. But I mean, he didn't look bad in boxing the other day. And again, if he doesn't get matched up against too high level competition, like like don't put him up against Jake Paul. As annoying as Jake Paul is, Jake Paul's a big dude and it will probably hurt Tony Ferguson. So yeah, I don't want that. But yeah, it's all poppy level matchmaking. I'm okay with it.
All right. And the other one was Darren Till versus Luke Rockhold, dude. And, I feel like anyone that has watched MMA for any amount of, few years that saw these two fighters in the UFC could have seen this outcome coming a mile away. One of which, Darren Till has always had very clean hands. He was a solid boxer, always in the UFC. His issue was, like Tony, getting taken down, dude. And also a pretty solid, big guy too. So, and on the other hand, Luke Rockhold has always been a good kicker and jujitsu player. He had tricky subs and he had fast kicks. And these two fighters are fighting each other in Misfits boxing. And one big factor is the past 2 or 3 times that Luke Rockhold has gotten knocked out has been from like a left hand. And Darren Till is a southpaw, dude. This was written in the stars, dude. Darren Till absolutely demolishes Luke Rockhold, smokes him, knocks him out cold, dude. I'm not gonna say I like to see it, but Luke Rockhold was like this cocky dude that I just that was a fighter that I was like, he got knocked out. Well, oh well, I wasn't ever like, hope he's okay. Hope, oh well, I was like, I'm glad his ass got knocked out. But it's like, it is what it is. But he also posted after that he's hanging it up, dude, doing sports that he'll do maybe like a jiu-jitsu match, but he is not willing to take any more damage, as he said. So, what's your thoughts on the fight? What's your thoughts on Luke Rockhold hanging it up? And then what's your thoughts on the flavor of these beans that you're about to eat?
Yeah. Oh man. Hopefully we get a nice old pomegranate in there, and yeah, let's get some good ones. But no, I think you want to talk about somebody who needs to hang him up. Yeah, your boy Luke needs to go ahead and hang him on up. Probably should have done it a while ago at this point. I mean, we know that Luke Rockhold's chin has not been great, and taking damage has not been great for him. And, we saw the Mike Perry fight in BKFC where he had his front teeth knocked out, and, he didn't want to get hit then. And, he basically ended up quitting the fight because he had his teeth knocked out. And, and then in this fight, basically the first clean left hand that Darren Till lands drops him. And pretty much from that point on, Luke Rockhold's just a sitting target, just waiting to basically be knocked out. I mean, I just thought the skill level between the two was just not even close. I don't know why Luke took this fight outside of just the money. And, I would say at this point, I mean, 40 years old. I mean, I do think that Darren Till, he's obviously a good fighter. Let's not take that away from him. But at the same time, we know what Luke Rockhold is at this point in his career. He's not the guy that he used to be. Used to be a UFC champion, Strikeforce champion, and all those things. But that was a long time ago, and that was a lot less damage ago as well. Considering the amount of damage that Luke has taken to now, he needs to hang him up. But good performance from Till, though. He looked clean, and that knockout was beautiful. The way that he just kind of hit that flurry of punches and then just kind of stepped in the range with that jab left hand, came through clean. And set Rockhold up doing the stipe, So yeah, I was very very impressed with the knockout itself.
Yeah, man, I agree. I agree. So let's get in the chat real quick. We got Dave popping in here. What's going on, Dave? What's good, brothers? Got your boy chasing green pieces of paper. Hope y'all all right. Yeah, we're good, Dave. Just catching up on all the fight news that has been going on. D Rose, you would have lost the bet, man. Just want to let you know that. It's just money, you know. Like Luke, how is it professional? Still want to see the fight. At 32, Derek can find his way back to the UFC. I think maybe we could see Darren Till back in the UFC, but at the same time, it's like if he's making money boxing, why? Like he's just going to get taken down. But
yeah, yeah, he also, just like Tony, I think appropriate matchmaking and Darren Till can flourish. And I don't know if he's going to be like a professional boxer or anything, but yeah, this little misfits lane, he's found a lane that where I think he can lump some dudes up and make some money in the process.
Yeah, man, I agree. So, one more thing on this, I actually kind of messaged you right after the Darren Till fight, and I was like, kind of looking back, the only loss that kind of looks bad for Darren Till is probably like the Derek Brunson fight, because the other fights, were, down at 170, like against like prime Jorge, and then like when he moved up to 85, yeah. He lost to Dricus, but he had a solid round with Dricus, and no one knew that he had like plot armor then. So looking back, I don't think he should have even gotten cut from the UFC, but that's just my opinion.
He asked for his release from the UFC. Yeah, because that was one thing that I remember Dana saying, specifically that, hey, if a guy's going to ask for his release, I'm not going to judge him for it, because hey, he basically understands that he's not ready for this level of competition right now, and that's why I said I think this lane for Darren Till is a good lane, as far as not having to get taken down and stuff like that. And I think another thing as well for Till, 70 was a good weight class for him because the guys couldn't really take him down in the weight class. 185, he's fighting a lot of bigger dudes that are bigger than him. So I think the weight class thing was a little bit of an issue too, versus in boxing, he's still got speed, he's still got power, and doesn't have to worry about the takedowns. It's the perfect recipe for him to have success. So he did fight some killers in the UFC, but I just think that he had a lot of hype coming into the UFC, and he got a lot of hype after the Cowboy win. And once that split decision happened with Stephen Thompson, I think a lot of people became very questionable with Darren Till. And then from there, basically the rest of his UFC career didn't play out the way the UFC quite wanted it to. And people kind of held it over Till's head, but he's still a talented fighter.
Yeah. And what else is talented is the way that D Rose is able to act while eating these beans.
Man, hell no. It's the bean bop.
The bean bop.
Please stop.
And it don't stop. It will never stop. You want it to stop? Too bad.
All right, you know what? I could do it.
Is it a blue one?
I'm not going to do it.
You could do it. You could do it, but you blew it.
I could do it, but I'm not going to do it because I'm a real one. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
Oh, I see the peach or barf.
Nah, that's strawberry banana or dead fish.
Oh, shit.
Oh, gosh.
Dead fish. Fish scales. Shark
Fish
tails.
scales.
Shark
Can go to
tails.
hell. You as well. Oh, God.
How's it smell? What's going on, Austin? How you doing? Happy anniversary, Austin. Glad you're stopping in with the boys, but get back to your girl, man. We ain't that important. So it's strawberry banana?
Yeah, we'll take it, baby.
That's upsetting. All right, round 2. You thought he was through?
Oh, no.
Is that banana or wet dog?
Oh yes.
Oh, wet dog. Here it comes.
Oh.
Wet dog. Wet dog. Wet dog. Wet dog. Come on. Come on. Wet dog.
Go.
Wet dog. Wet dog. Wet dog. Wet dog. Wet dog.
Dude, the bag smells like a wet dog.
Wet dog. Wet dog. Wet
Dude.
dog.
Dude, the bag literally smells like a wet dog.
Oh my, that's so funny, dude.
It's stuck in my teeth.
Oh man. Oh goodness. Dave asked Antoine what he thinks about the Raja situation. The Rose with another Emmy nomination for that performance. All right. All right, heroes. Let's get into our UFC fight news and announcements. Just pretty much everything that's gone on in the MMA sphere since we've been gone. So share my screen and we will start off with our first fight announcement. We have Yusuf Zalal versus Josh Emmett, October 4th, UFC 320. What's your thoughts on this fight, man?
I'm trying to rinse that crap out.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. No, I think this probably I guess sorry, I'm reeling. Yeah, I think appropriate matchmaking. I do think that Josh Emmett, as much as I love him, I do think he's on his way out. And for Yusuf Zalal, a guy that he's on his way up. Didn't have the greatest performance against Calvin Kattar in his last fight. This could be a fight.
Well, it was a
with
clean
Josh
performance. He was just a weenie.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just a performance that not a lot of people liked, especially in that third round. It was clear he didn't want to engage. He was just trying to, stay on his bike and basically secure the win. And, if he can go in here and beat a guy like Josh Emmett and look good in the process, Josh Emmett is a guy who has a big name in the division and is well known. So you go beat a guy like that, not a lot of people can beat Josh Emmett pretty soundly. So you do that against Josh Emmett, you're looking at some good things, but still a tough test because we know the bombs that Josh Emmett carries.
Speaking of activity, did you hear Herb Dean tell Aljo 2 weeks ago to fight Brian Ortega after he was rocked and trying to recover? He was fucking backing up, going around the outside octagon, and Herb was like, you have to engage. It's you engage, man. I'm rocked.
Yeah.
That was the craziest shit I've ever seen, dude. What are you gonna do? Take a point from him?
Yeah. Well, and it kind of so I heard Bray Longo, his coach, say in an interview, the other day, how a lot of people were like, man, Hamzat's performance was so impressive and stuff like that. And he was like, let Aljamain Sterling try to do something like that. And dude, everybody is going to talk about how Aljo is the most boring fighter and he's annoying and nobody likes him and this and that. And it's almost like Herb Dean is kind of starting to take the effect from that too, because it's Aljo, you had to engage. And I heard Aljo talk about that after the fight, saying hey, I was rocked. Genuinely rocked.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to stay alive so I can win the fight. And Herb Dean is telling me I need to engage while I'm rocked. And he's basically he's too rocked to combat Herb Dean. But he's I hit Brian Ortega in the eye in the third round earlier, and you stopped the fight when you knew it was a punch. So what are you talking about? Herb Dean has been on one lately. And speaking of refs, dude, the ref in the who was the guy yesterday on the Contender Series?
Gary Copeland.
Gary Copeland. Dude, Dude, if that was
That was the
UFC
dude
card,
from the Atlantic City card that was fucking up nonstop. And I had his own little thing. I'm like, this guy fucked up all of our bets this past weekend.
yes, dude, I'm telling you, if he was fighting or if he was reffing a UFC card, that dude would have lost everything. How did he not see the knee
Or the headbutt
one,
before that
yeah,
dropped him.
yeah, no, exactly. The headbutt that dropped him, the knee on the ground of a grounded opponent. He misses all those shots, and then in the next fight, he ends up he thought it was hammer fist in the back of the head, and then he ends up calling the fight, looking at the footage. Then Herzog tells him it was clean shots, and he's like, "Fight over." What on God's green earth are you doing? Like, you have no idea what you're doing, dude, at this point.
Yeah, man. Just rough, man.
Yeah, dude, that was like I was screaming through my TV watching Gary Copeland last night, dude. He was just that dude was having a ball with tearing shit up. Like, it was crazy.
Indeed, man. Indeed. What's this? That's just fights to me. All right, here we go. UFC Perth, dude. There's so many fights on UFC Perth. Like, I think there's like 17 or 18 fights there. Do you think all of them happen?
Nah, it's surely gonna be some injuries that's gonna happen and stuff fall off or get rescheduled or something. But yeah, that's a lot of fights to hold up. But I think this fight though, yeah, Magny and Matthews, that's a good fight, and Neil Magny doing what he does best and being that test for up and coming guy who, Jake Matthews has looked really good in his last few fights, starting to put it together. Think he's even him being undersized a little bit at welterweight, starting to get his strength in there. His boxing has looked good in his last few fights, so I think this is a good test for Jake Matthews. And Neil Magny, old dog, still at it, man. So yeah, I think it's appropriate matchmaking.
Yeah. Anton wants to know, is Josh Emmett retire with 2 more losses? He might retire after 2 more fights, man. He's a little bit older. No, Magny won't make the Hall of Fame because of longevity. It's special. Yeah, man. He's been around a long time, but so is Jake Matthews, though. Anyway, we got Oban Elliott versus Jonathan Melikav. What do you think about this for UFC Perth? Because Oban Elliott came out and laid a stinker in his last fight, yeah?
Yeah, exactly what I was about to say. Yeah, he laid a bit of a stinker in his last fight, so I think a bunch of people are not going to be as trustworthy of him coming out. Yeah, Mikalev, he's fought in the UFC, right?
Yeah, I think once or twice now.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, I know I've seen him before. I know he came off Contender Series, and I think he's had at least one UFC fight. But yeah, I think that's good matchmaking. Let's see what Oban Elliott can do after as you said, a stinker performance in that last fight.
Yeah, and for UFC Vancouver, we got Kyle Prepelic versus Drew Dober. You think Drew Dober's able to get a win against, this kind of, I don't want to say no-name guy, but I mean, come on, Drew Dober, you can beat this guy, right?
Is that the guy who lost to BSD?
I think so, dude.
Yeah. I mean, Prepelic, if that's the dude who I'm thinking about, and that's the guy who fought BSD, I think Drew Dober can get it done, but man, Drew Dober's looked a little tough in his last few fights, and he has not been able to take damage well at all. So, I mean, I'm not expecting him to just go out there and just get punched all the time, but yeah, can't take a shot like he used to.
And then we got Davey Grant against Charles Air Jourdain. What's your thoughts on this one?
This is also good matchmaking, man. 2 tough guys, 2 guys who are it's tough to finish. Both guys, both good boxing. We know how Davey Grant is, this old $2 steak tough, man. Like, you cannot get that dude out of there. And if you go to try to get him out of there in the first round and you gas out after the first round, he's pretty much going to whomp you those next 2 rounds. So you have to manage your energy correctly when fighting Davey Grant. And Charles Jourdain, he looks pretty good at 135 so far. So I like the fight.
Yeah, and some news that came out while we were gone, dude, is Weili vacates her 115-pound title and is moving up to fight Valentina Shevchenko. I believe this is going to take place at, I think, UFC 322, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm sure we'll get more information on that. But in place in October, Mackenzie Dern will fight Verna Jandiroba for the vacant 115-pound title. Yeah, man. So what's your thoughts on let's just talk about this fight for a second. This is the fight that needed to happen. I am so ready for this fight to happen. I just wish it would have happened maybe a little bit sooner, because Valentina, I'm not going to say she doesn't fight the same way, but we saw with the first Grasso loss, like she's not moving as fast as she used to. And even in the second fight, she got, dropped there. I don't think this is the easiest fight for Valentina, man, because Weili can for sure take Valentina down, man, without a doubt. Dude, I'm excited for this fight. This is probably the first women's fight that I've truly been like really excited for, maybe ever, man. I'm excited for this fight. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, no, I think this one, I know Amanda Nunes is supposed to come back. Like, is she really supposed to come back? Like, how is this supposed to work? But in terms of what we know is on, a possibility and now is on the books, this is probably the most anticipated women's fight. And honestly, it's bad to say, I think I'm more excited for Weili than I am for Valentina. Like, I think it's a good fight, but I'm excited to see Weili get the opportunity, because she has been, one that has she has grown on me as one of my favorite fighters, over a period of time, and especially with her doing this kind of like adorable turn that she's done with her, like trying to learn English a little bit at a time and always having like these little phrases ready and stuff like that. Like, I'm just kind of falling in love with the character and person that Weili is, and I also love her fight style. And I do think that Valentina, obviously one of the GOATs, one of the top 3 women's fighters of all time. Her, Amanda, and Cyborg, whichever order y'all want to put it in, is fine. But Valentina is one of those in a legendary status, and she's shown in her last few fights why she's a champ, and she's ready to defend her throne. And I do think that in that Manny Fiora fight, Valentina proved a lot of people wrong, so she shows she still got it, and this is a good matchup, man. So I love the fight. I think you're on mute. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not tripping. Yeah, I think I can't tell if I'm quite losing connection or if Matt's losing connection. Yeah, I think Antoine's nailing it here. Oh man. I'm so used to my own internet going out that I'm never prepared for when his goes out. So that was actually a little bit of surprise there. Was a little bit caught off guard. I know we were on a little bit of UFC news. To answer your question, Antoine, does Weili go toe to toe with Amanda? I think that's just a little bit of a step up too far for Weili. 2 weight classes, sure, but there are weight classes for a reason. I just still think at the end of the day, there's going to be a little bit of a high step up for Weili. So yeah, that's going to be tough there. I'm going to
Nero's like,
hey, there we go. There he is.
Oh, like I'm like talking to you, and like I can see you, but like StreamYard just kicked me out of the stream. I'm like, what happened? I forgot what was even happening, man. Let's see.
We were talking about Weili and Valentina, but we were just wrapping that up. So
yeah, oh yeah, I was like trying to click the comments, dude, and all of a sudden I just got booted out. I was like, why can't I click the comments? And then I just saw a bunch of little like loading things. I was like, this ain't good, and then got kicked out. So anyway, yeah. So and then what's your thoughts on the 115-pound title between Dave's wife and I'm not going to tell you which one's Dave's wife is. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can all pretty much guess who we're talking about here, but I think no, I think for a vacant title in this weight class, I do think this is probably at this current moment the best of the division, just because where Tatiana Suarez, she has lost the weight lead. What's crazy is if Tatiana had just waited just maybe a little bit longer, she might be UFC champion, because I think there's a chance that Tatiana, I think there's a chance Tatiana actually beats both of these girls. But I just think in terms of they're both on win streaks, especially Verna. Verna was no doubt on this, no doubt deserving of a shot at the title. It just really come to happen who was going to be her opponent, whether it was going to be Wei Lee or somebody else, and this is the appropriate matchmaking here. Durn is going to be a tough matchup for Verna, because Verna did lose to her early in her career in the UFC, but Verna has made a lot of improvements, and I don't think she's lost since that fight. So yeah, Verna's looked really good, and I think it's a really good matchmaking. So I'm curious to see how this fight goes up.
Yeah, man, that's going to be in Abu Dhabi as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be on the Pereira. Oh, I'm sorry, Aspinall and Gon card, right?
I believe so. What's your thoughts on this one? Set for UFC 323, Bruno Ferreira takes on Marvin Vettori. Looks like Bruno Ferreira is going to get a crack at the top 15, and I did not know Marvin Vettori was down at 14, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for Vettori because he's lost a lot more than he's won here recently, and although he's only lost to top 10 guys, he has lost more than he's won, so not super surprising. And but I actually think there's an avenue for him to win as long as he tries to use at least some of his wrestling. I feel like he's just gone straight meathead and just tried to, basically sloppy box his way to these wins with no head movement. And obviously the dude's got an iron chin. I mean, Vettori's chin is going to be one of those that's going to be tested with throughout.
It'll be tested here.
Dude, like it's like no, like his chin is going to be studied like well after he passes away, and like dude, what was in this guy's chin to keep him up from some of the punishing shots that he took and was able to stand up? So yeah, I do think it'll be tested here, but man, I let Vettori be the underdog. I think I might take Vettori in this matchup.
Yeah, man, we'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens. Moving on. UFC 322, JDM versus Islam Makhachev. We knew that was happening, but November 15th, MSG. Any surprises or thoughts there?
No surprises, but excited that fight is officially on the books, and man, that should be a banger.
Yeah, man. We got Tatsuro Taira versus Brandon Moreno in the works for UFC 323. What's your thoughts on this one, man?
That would be a really good fight, and it's kind of a way for Moreno to. Hey, if he's gonna stay in this division, which obviously I don't see him moving up to bantamweight, so staying in this division, you're gonna have to prove you're gonna be one of these top guys if you want to stick around, and Tyra's gonna be one of these young up and comers that he looked really good in his last fight. Even though I know now I'm blanking on the guy's name, just took the fight on short notice. He took the fight on short notice and whatnot, but yeah, this is going to be a real test for Tyra to see if he's ready for the top. And I think if Tyra can beat a guy like Moreno, I think they could potentially get him a title shot, especially if Pantoja keeps doing what he's been doing recently. So this is a good chance for Tyra to boost himself up into that title fight.
Yeah, man, I'm happy. Thank you. Says that. I'm happy. Thank you. Yeah, man. Let's see what else we got. D Rose, me and you have a split difference on this fight. So you think that the Rob Font versus Raul Rosas was a bad fight for Raul Rosas, while I, on the other hand, think that was an excellent fight for Raul Rosas. Do you think they rebooked this fight? And I'm curious to know, all 6 of you in the chat, who do y'all think would have won this fight, Raul Rosas or Rob Font?
Look, so here's my thing about the fight, and I'm not even like that strongly opinionated on who's going to win that fight, because I think I could 100% see the fight go either way. This fight is a double-edged sword for Raul Rosas, because it's one of those where if he goes up and he loses again, and now again, Rob Font is a guy who, top 10 guy for most of his career, top 15 guy. He's a really tough fighter. You beat a guy like that, and that's a good win. Or I'm sorry, if you lose to a guy like that, good guy, it's not a bad loss, but how many losses like that in your career are you going to be able to have before the people start doubting you after a while? And if you go in there and beat a guy like Rob Font, cool, but I don't know if I've seen enough in Raul Rosas's game to let me know that he's going to be like a game changer in the top 15 just yet. And you fight a guy like Rob Font, there's no going back. You know what I mean? So now you got to keep moving up in the division. And I just think, I just don't think he's ready for that level of competition just yet. Even if he beats Rob Font, he's going to end up fighting guys like a Cheeto Vera, and and maybe a Cheeto could be a good matchup too, just because Cheeto does have not great takedown defense. But I think even a guy like Henry Cejudo could be a bad matchup for Ronald Rosas. I just don't see good matchups for him in the top 10. So I just think he needs a little bit more to work his way up into that.
Fair enough. Me personally, I just think Rob Font gets taken down by gust of wind. So I think that's a favorable fight for Rosas, in my opinion. Now, what happens after? I ain't thinking too far forward there. None of my business. That's between him and his manager. Here we go. We got Carlos Prates taking on Leon Rocky Edwards November 15th, MSG. I know Leon Edwards is happy that he's not fighting another wrestler, someone that's going to take him down. But, man, he's probably going to wish he was after fighting Carlos Prates. What are your thoughts on this fight?
Man, I love the matchup. I love the call out that Carlos Prates, him laying it out there and him getting the matchup. Now, it wasn't on the card that he wanted. He wanted to be on the Rio card with Charles Oliveira, but still, this is a bigger spotlight for him on the MSG pay-per-view. So big spot for him here. And but I do think that Leon, that's a winnable fight for Leon. Let's say that. So Carlos Prates will probably be a pretty significant favorite. I say at least line's going to at least open up. He's going to be every bit of a minus 225 or higher. And I think it'll just climb from there. But yeah, I do think that Leon has a shot.
Fair enough. We got Brandon Royval taking on Manel Kape, headline UFC Vegas 112 on December 13th. What's your thoughts on that one, man?
Oh. Okay, I want to make sure I didn't have to sneeze too. No, I do think that this is a fight that is this going to turn into Habib versus Tony again? Like, are we just going to keep having this fight booked and have it not happen? Like, I feel like we've had this fight matched up. Yeah, this fight has been matched up three times at this point. I think this year. I think just this year it's been 3 times, because remember the first fight, Kape had fought Asuan Babayev. That was earlier this year, correct? Like what, February, March? Then they were scheduled to fight in June. That's when Kape pulled out and the Royval fought. So this will be the 3rd time that they'll be booked this year. Let's see if it actually happens.
Yeah, man. What's this for the White House card? Do you think this is going to happen?
Not, dude. There would be a better chance of a snowball survival in hell than there would be for that fight to happen. No chance in hell. On the White House card, no.
All right, dude. We got UFC 323. This is just a rumor. We got Ilia Topuria for Justin Gaethje, a rumor to be in the works for UFC 323 on December 6th. What's your thoughts here?
I mean, that's the fight that I would want to see most, next, just considering where Arman Tsarukyan's at, and that, it seems like that the UFC is going to make him take another fight due to him pulling out against Islam. So if he is to take another fight, I just don't really see, Patty, cool, but Patty's not deserving of that fight. Let's just be honest with ourselves here. And we all know deep down that Patty needs one more fight. So I would say that Gaethje would be the opponent that I would want to see Topuria fight, considering that Arman is going to have to fight somebody else. And I do think that, hey, for as long as it can last, I think this fight could be fun, because it's not like Gaethje is going in there to pitter patter, man. He's going in there to hurt some people. And Topuria is not great at checking leg kicks, so I'd like to see how some of those leg kicks from Gaethje can maybe see how Topuria would defend it and attack.
Yeah, this is what I want to know. Because Justin said if he got put out like that again, then he was done, dude. And it wouldn't surprise me if Ilya put him out like that again. So this could be the last time we see Justin fight, yeah?
Yeah, but he also said that when he had that war against Dustin Poirier, the first fight against Dustin Poirier back in 2018, he's like, yeah, I probably got like 4 or 5 fights left. And how many times has he fought since then? So he is a guy known to say stuff kind of in the moment, and then afterwards kind of realize, hey, maybe I didn't necessarily mean that. So not to say Justin Gaethje is a liar, but give time to pass a little bit, and he might change his mind on that.
Yeah, man. We got a fun one here for UFC Qatar. We got Ilya Topuria's brother, Alessandro Topuria, taking on Mezcat Almakhan for November 22nd. You care about this one at all?
That's a good fight. I'm curious if Alessandro is going to actually take the fight, or Alexander, I don't know how it is, but yeah, I'll be curious to see if he takes that fight, because Almakhan, I mean, that's a tough fight for him, and I know Topuria brother, I know he's pretty good, but that's not an easy fight.
And also for UFC Qatar, we got Paulo Costa versus Cheryl Bullitt. So the question I want to ask you, D-Rose, you already know it. Does Paulo Costa make it to this fight?
This fight's not happening, man. Yeah, and the only I'm not even saying that in terms of trying to like talk smack about Paulo Costa. I'm saying that Paulo Costa got a win against Roman Kapov in his last fight. He's not fighting backwards. He's already kind of made that clear that he kind of wants some of the top guys. I think Paulo Costa is going to be waiting for how these results shake out with. I mean, he could potentially fight Dricus du Plessis because he did call for that fight, or he could potentially fight the loser of these next up and coming fights between Imavov and Kaio, and or maybe not Kaio, because I know he said he trained with Kaio in the past, but and Fluffy and RDR. So I think he could potentially looking at any of those fights. A Char Bullet fight's not happening. Not even talking smack about Costa. Char doesn't have a chance of getting that fight. And truthfully, if so, I think Paulo Costa will probably work him. So I'm just not a big fan of Char.
Fair enough, dude. And the last one, I haven't seen it yet, but Antoine letting us know that they booked Rodolfo Vieira versus Bo Nickel for 5 rounds. That's going to be coming up. What's your thoughts on that fight if it happens?
I think championship. Do you think championship rounds is whatever source he's using? That's what I would think.
Yeah, possibly. But what's your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, because I mean, could be a good fight. I would just say that I would highly doubt that the UFC would put Vera and Bo Nickel in the main event. But
probably.
I think it could be a pretty good fight. But I mean, as long as Bo Nickel doesn't shoot him recklessly and get caught up in the guillotine, I do think that his wrestling could help him out in the fight. But
Antoine,
I mean, it's a decent fight, but I'm not like my socks ain't blowing off.
Gotcha. D-Rose's socks are still firmly on his toes.
Yes, firmly on my feet, and my shoes are holding them down. So yeah, socks are still intact right now.
Yeah, him clarifying 3-round fight. That's the publication. Gotcha, Antoine. So moving on to what pretty much anyone that's here at this point is here at this point for. We got our UFC Paris. Imavov versus Caio Borralho. Our preview, our prediction, and our picks for this upcoming weekend's fights in Paris, France, the Rose. And I hated to break it to you this past weekend. Like we're like, I get off at 5, so I'll be able to catch the main card. And then I was like, man, I don't want to tell them, but these fights start at noon. so there's a good chance that you're gonna miss most of the main card too, dude. I'm sorry.
Wait, I thought it was like a 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
It's a 12 and a 3, but if you get off at 5, you might get to see the main co-main and main possibly.
Yeah. I mean, that's it's kind of what I'm here for mostly, but
okay, all right.
Yeah, kind of.
D-Rose ain't caring about the fights this weekend.
But yeah, I think it's a pretty good fight. But I think, and hey, depending on how some of these results go early on in the card, there's a couple of decisions. Maybe I could catch him for the feature fight as well. You never know.
Yeah, we got Bro Chogan in here. What's going on, brother? We are
What's
live
up, bro, Joe?
indeed. Yeah, I got off before. It's annoying. What's happening?
At least
man?
it's not a pay-per-view, Antoine. So we're good there.
3 a.m. to noon, and then now this shit. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm sorry, man. So let's get into the fights for this weekend. We got 14 fights to go over. We are headlined by Caio Borralho versus Nasruddin Imavov. Taking place, fights start at noon Eastern time on Saturday. They're going to take place at the Accor Arena in Paris, France. And once again, we have 14 fights to go over. Headlined by Nasruddin, the French-Russian sniper Imavov, taking on Caio, the natural Borralho. We've got BSD, Benoit Saint-Denis, taking on Mauricio Hufi. That's going to be a fun fight. We got Modestas Bukauskas taking on Paul Craig in the featured fight of the night. Ugh. We got Borralho taking on Mason Jones, returning. Is that his second fight? Yeah, second fight now back in the UFC after beating up Jeremy Stevens in his last one. We've got Axel Sosa taking on Reese McKee. This is Axel Sosa's first fight in the UFC, but if I'm going to be honest, it just seems like UFC needed some French fighters on this card because they don't have too many on here. We got Patricio Pitbull taking on Lucina Quieta. I don't know how to say that. We got William, the Jaguar Gomi, taking on Robert Rushala. Late notice, Robert Rushala, because it was going to be William Gomi taking on, I think, Faras Ziam, man. Wait, hold on. Do they fight? No, that's not the same fight. Yeah. I know Faras Ziam was like going to fight on this card, but his grandma died, so he pulled off the fight card for that. Interesting. Anyway, we got Umar C taking on Brennison Haberio. We got Marcin Tybura taking on Antti Delija. We've got Caio Fernandez. That's who was going to be fighting.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, Caio Fernandez taking on Harry Hardwick. We got Sam Patterson taking on Trey Waters. We got Brad Tavares taking on Robert Brischek. We got Renat Fakhretdinov way down on the card taking on Andreas Gustafsson. And the first fight of the night is going to be Mama B, Shauna Bannon taking on Sam Page, Sam Hughes. They actually put death and family there. That's fucked up. And Yanesi Dubin was also going to fight on this card, but she ends up, I don't know, withdrawing. So, D Rose, thoughts on the fights as a whole? Are you surprised there's not as many French fighters on here that you expect to be?
I mean, does the UFC have like a full roster of them? I think that's part of the reason why.
I'm surprised Morgan Charrier's not fighting on this card. Like, why didn't they just, they could have had Cyril Gahn fight a can real quick.
But isn't like the I know the Kita guy, I know he's not from Paris, but doesn't he have like some type of ties over in France or something?
That wouldn't surprise me. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I might have saw something where he has some like French ties, and that's why they wanted to, book him on this card as well. And not a lot of French talent, but as the main card goes, you get into it, and of course the top two fighters are French as well. And the Paris crowd normally delivers, man. That's what I was saying to you in a message the other day, that the Paris crowd normally delivers. Let's see how this fight card does. I say this fight card, I give it a C plus, B minus. Kind of in that range. I think it's pretty solid for what it is, and I think interesting fights all through.
Yeah, and Antoine let us know the UFC card is going to be 17 fights. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. Yeah, somebody's going to be pulling out of that fight. That's too many. Yeah, man. So, all right. With that being said, let's get into it. D-Rose first fight of the night is going to be Mama B, Shauna Bannon, taking on Sam Page, Sam Hughes. Shauna Bannon is 7-1 overall. Her only loss ever is to Bruna Brazil 2 years ago. She is 31 years old, 5'5", and a 65-inch reach. While Sam Hughes, on the other hand, is 10-6 overall. Out of her last 5 fights, she has 3 wins and 2 losses. She is 33 years old, 5'5", and a 64-inch reach. So Sam Page will be the same size as Mama B, Shannon Bannon here. She will be at a half-inch reach disadvantage. But D-Rose, for me, it's the odds here. Sam Hughes is minus 340, the favorite. Shauna Bannon is plus 270, the underdog here. But, yeah, dude, Shauna Bannon isn't really beating anyone, to be honest. Like, lost her UFC debut. Okay, she beat Alice Ardeline by split decision, but this one, dude, she got molly-whopped by Puja Tamar, and Puja Tamar is just bad, just fell right into an arm bar. That's her own fault. But, dude, I don't see a way that Sam Page doesn't win this fight. And Sam Page via decision is currently minus 160. So I'm taking Sam Hughes to win this fight via decision, just because I don't really think she has the power nor skills to get anyone out of there. So Sam Page via decision for me. How about you, man?
Yeah, I think this is just going to be a fight that I'm staying the hell away from betting wise. Like, I'm getting nowhere near this fight. But I do think that, Shauna Bannon is one, me, and I will not pick Mama B, because that is awful, dude. Like, and look, Bruno Brazil, obviously Bruno Brazil is a pretty talented fighter. I understand losing your UFC debut to her, but even in Alice Ardeline fight, she still didn't look great, and that was a split decision. And again, as you said, Puja Tamar, she got lumped up in that fight. I had Puja Tamar in that fight where that decided to pick Sham for her, so I was pretty salty with Puja Tamar that she lost that fight when she could have easily won it. But I think at Sam Hughes, level of competition is a little bit tougher, and she's been on a little bit of a roll herself. I think her wrestling gets it done here. Let's go Sam Page, Sam Hughes by decision.
All right, me and Nero's both on the same page via decision. Moving on to the next one, we got Renat Fakradinov taking on Andreas Gustafsson. Andreas' second fight in the UFC, man. And man, they are burying Renat Fakradinov on the card, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you keep getting all these split decision wins when you were supposed to be like this terror coming into the UFC. So yeah, they're probably a little salty with you.
Yeah, man. So we have Gladiator Renat Fakradinov that is 24-2-1 overall out of his last 5 fights, 4 wins and a majority decision draw against Zaleski dos Santos. But he has since beaten Carlos Leal via unanimous decision, D-Rose. Unanimous now. And it's a split decision win against Nicholas Dalby. He for sure lost that Carlos Leal fight. I don't care what anyone says. He is 33 years old, 6 foot, and a 74-inch reach, while Andreas Gustafsson has had 1 fight in the UFC against Chaos Williams, where he did beat him via decision. 34 years old, 6'1", and a 73-inch reach. D-Rose, odds for the fight are minus 112 Andreas Gustafsson, and Renat Fakradinov is minus 108. I think people are real high on Andreas Gustafsson after his last fight, but I just think if you match up Chaos Williams and Renat Fakradinov, I just think we're going to see a big level difference there too. So I know people high on Andreas Gustafsson, but I'm going to roll with what's been happening. Give me Renat Fakradinov to win this fight by another robbery split decision. Which way are you going here, man?
You know what? This is one of the very few times you'll actually hear me say this. I actually like where this betting line is at right now. Like, I know like Gustafsson's like a little bit of a favorite, but
Well, I got minus 112, minus 108, so they're both minus money. So.
Yeah, that's right where it needs to be, because I think this fight is every bit of a coin flip fight. I think, for me, Fakradinov, good wrestling, good chin. He's got good cardio, and he does have a little bit of a dog in him, even though, his striking style might be a little bit awkward and quirky. I mean, he will, against Nicholas Dalby, he did kind of, it was a sloppy Max Holloway, but he did kind of do the point down and just swing until the end. Like, he's got a little bit of that dog in him, even though it might not look like it from time to time. And Gustafson's definitely got that dog in him. Not that dog, he's got that Viking in him. To where he's just going through, just walking forward every bit of damage. And he's like, no, dude, I'm a Viking. Like, I don't care who I go fight. I don't need a prep. I just let me know who I go fight, and I go fight. Love the attitude on the guy. And I think there's a lot of physical advantages that he can actually have coming into this fight. And he's not that much older. I think he's gonna be a little bit of the bigger guy. I like where Gustafsson is at right now. I think the biggest thing for him, he takes a lot of damage, but I don't know if Fakardinov is going to have the power to throw back to Gustafsson, to where I think Gustafsson, as long as he stuffs the takedowns, can walk through some of those pitter-patter shots. I think he could have a very similar to a chaos-like performance here. Give me Andreas Gustafsson by decision here to get it done.
All right, me and D Rose split for the first time tonight, and the first time in 2 weeks. For the second time in 3 weeks now, we are picking on a different fight because we only had one last week. Moving on to the next one, we got Brad Tavares taking on Robert Brzezczyk. Brad Tavares is 21-10 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 3 losses and 2 wins. Win over GM3, lost to Jung Young Park, lost to Gregory Rodriguez, win over Chris Weidman, and a loss to Bruno Blendadal D. Rose. He's 37 years old, 6'1", and 74-inch reach, while Robert Brzezczyk is 17-6 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, he is 4 wins and 1 loss, but the only one that matters is in the UFC, was against Ihor Potieria a year and a half ago, where he lost. 35 years old, 6 foot, and a 75-inch reach. You lose a decision to Ihor Potieria, you are never getting picked by me. Brad Tavares via decision for me. What about you, D-Rose?
Yeah, I think same for me here. Not much analysis needed. As you said, Ihor Potieria, not that great. And you lost a decision to him. Give me Brad Tavares by decision.
Y'all remember the first time you saw Brad Tavares fight? I don't know, man.
First time I saw Brad Tavares fight?
It's been a while ago.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while.
I know it was before Izzy smoked him, because I remember. Who did I ask you, D Rose? I think after Edmund Shabazian smoked Brad Tavares, I asked you how quick he was going to beat Derek Brunson. So I know at least that long. But
yeah, well, that was after the Izzy. I would say maybe. You know what? I actually remember him smoking Krzysztof Jotko, and that was before the Izzy fight, because I'm going back on his career now. And I remember maybe not the Elias Theodorou fight, but I do remember him smoking Krzysztof Jotko, like landing a big overhand left on him at the I think it was like at the end of the fight or something like that, like crush him against the fence. Yeah, I remember that. So maybe around there. So maybe 2017. First time that I saw a highlight of him was I think Robert Whitaker highlighted him back in the day.
Like he maybe not have won, but he was on the highlight.
Yeah. I saw a highlight of Robert Whitaker sleeping him, so that's something.
All right, moving on, dude. We got Sam, the future Patterson, taking on Trey the Truth Waters, dude. It's a given, dude. If your name if your name is Trey, your nickname is going to be the Truth. It just is what it is. How many of them are there at this point?
Gotta be.
just so many. Anyway, Sam Patterson, 13-2-1 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, he has 4 wins and 1 loss. His loss was to Yanal Ashmos down at 150. He then moved up to 170 pounds, has a win over Johan Lanus, Kiefer Crosby, and then one that busted all my bets 5 months ago was him knocking out left hand to God, Danny Barlow. That ruined my day for sure. Anyway, he is 29 years old, 6'3", and a 78-inch reach. While Trey the Truth Waters is 9-1 overall, his only loss ever is to Gabriel Bonfim via Vlon flu choke 2 years, just to say 3 years ago at this point. Since then, he went back to LFA, won via knockout, then got signed to the UFC, beat Josh Quinlan via decision, and Billy Ray Goff via decision. He is 30 years old, 6'5" and a 77-inch reach. So two of the biggest dudes at welterweight that we are going to find here. But D Rose, I feel like we're going to be split here. I'm gonna let you pick first, and well, you know what? It's no secret. I don't pick Sam Patterson. I am going Trey Waters via decision because I think he has got an excellent jab on him, and I think Sam Patterson's going to eat that jab if he tries to shoot in to take down Trey Waters. So I personally think this is going to be a striking match, and I think Trey Waters is going to do just enough to win on the feet. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, I think this is a good matchup, and as you said, a matchup against two tall freaking. They're gonna look like they should be in the NBA, not in the UFC.
Here's the odds too: Sam Patterson minus 185, Trey Waters plus 154. The dog.
Yeah, I do think this fight. I think it's going to deliver, man. And Sam Patterson is the guy who goes out there for the finish. Win, lose, or draw, that dude will go out there and go for it. And credit to Trey Waters, good fighter, but just haven't seen enough of him a lot, in my opinion. I mean, I know obviously he's won a few fights in the UFC, but I just think the activity is going to be a big thing for him. Where he's kind of only fighting like once a year over the last couple of years. It seems like. I know he had the LFA and the quick turnaround against Josh Quinlan, but other than that, he's basically taken one fight a year since then. And I don't know if I like that pace versus where Sam Patterson's been on a roll. I think Sam Patterson gets it done. And Sam Patterson, when he gets it done, the dude does not go out there to play around. I think he gets a submission win, man. And I'm going to look to play that maybe this weekend in a couple bets. Give me Sam Patterson by submission here. I'm going to go second round. I think he's going to look to get the fight down to the ground, close the distance on Trey Water, get the fight down to the ground, and get that sub, man. So give me Sam Patterson by submission.
D Rose is not speaking the truth. I'll tell you that.
Tell you the truth.
D Rose going against them. Anyway, so we will be split on the second fight for the second time tonight. I am on Trey Waters. D Rose is on Sam Patterson. Moving on to the next one, we've got Kyle Fernandez taking on UFC newcomer Harry Houdini Hardwick. Kyle Fernandez 10-2 overall out of his last 5 fights, 4 wins, 2 losses. He beat Guram Kutateladze 5 months ago, busted everyone's bets, and then got Guram cut from the UFC. He has a win over Muhammad Yahya. He did lose to Mark DeCasey via split decision, and then he was in LFA before that. He is 30 years old, 5'9", and a 73-inch reach. While Harry Houdini Hardwick, 13-3-1 overall, probably one of the UK's best prospect. He's the number 2 featherweight in Ireland, but this fight is going to be at 155, so keep that in mind. He is 5'10". We don't have a reach, but I don't really think Cage Warriors guys are that great, especially their first fight in the UFC. And Kyle Fernandez spoiled my bets a few times with his solid leg kicking game, dude. So give me Kyle Fernandez to just leg kick Harry Hardwick all 3 rounds, maybe even get that 3rd round knockout. But I'm going to go Kyle Fernandez via decision. Odds for the fight are... I don't think I have it. We don't have odds for this fight yet, D-Rose. Or at least I don't see any. Anyway, which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, can't be too surprised about odds not being out for this fight. I know it was, announced pretty recently, right? Like it was only
the last. I think like 2 days ago.
Yeah. So not super surprised there, but no, I do think that I think Harry Hardwick coming in on short notice like he is. I think it's going to be a tough task. Kyle Fernandez, as you said, he's looked good in his UFC fight so far. So I'm not even going to get over analytical about this one. I think level of competition there for Fernandez. Give me Fernandez by decision here. I just think he keeps a clean performance and outpoints Harry Hardwick here.
Fair enough. Me and Darrow's on the same on that one. Moving on to the next one, we got Marcin Tybura. Dude, why do they keep putting that fucking dumbass haircut? Dude, he has to change his Tapology picture. Like, did he lose a fantasy football bet and like you got to get this haircut or something? Like, I don't understand. Like,
I believe it was basically like he said that like, oh yeah, I was losing my hair, and so I decided to do that instead. I'm like, so you decided to cut your hair like that instead of just going bald? Like that's insane. But
Dude,
anyway,
that's crazy, man. Looked crazy. Anyway, we got Marcin Tybura taking on Walking Trouble Ante Delija, his UFC debut coming from FNC after knocking out, hey, Jorgen De Castro, dude. I remember him being in the UFC. He had some power, man.
yeah.
Anyway, Marcin Tybura, 27-9 overall out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins, 2 losses. Win over Mick Parkin, win over Jonata Janice, lost to Sergey Spivak, win over Taito Avasa, and lost to Tom Aspinall 2 years ago. He is 39 years old, 6'3", and a 78-inch reach. And Ante Delija, Walking Trouble, is 25-6 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 4 wins, 1 loss, 35 years old, 6'5", and a 69-inch reach. D Rose, did you know this is a rematch as well?
Yeah, I think it was like Anta Deli, or however you say his name. Like broke his leg in the fight. Is that right?
Yeah, so he was whooping Marcin Tybura's ass and ended up like doing something, hurting his ankle, and then Marcin Tybura just jumps on him and just starts grounding and pounding him. Ref stops it, and then like the dude just holding his leg, and then fucking Marcin Tybura just looks sad that he, just delivered all those ground and pound shots on a dude with the broken leg, knowing that he did nothing. But yeah, man, I think Marcin Tybura is on his way out, man. This guy's a big guy, and I can only imagine he's gotten better since the last time that they fought. So I'm going to go Delija to knock out Marcin Tybura. But let's go round one, man. Why not? Odds for the fight -108 Marcin Tybura. Delija is -112. Over under here is 2.5. The over is +105. The under is -135. So everyone thinks this is going over, man. This is a heavyweight fight. Which way are you going here? You know what? I'll go round two.
Yeah, I mean that's why I would expect it to go over, because when have we been seeing all these heavyweight finishes? So we haven't seen many here recently. So that par for the course. I think I gotta go Tybura here, man. I think just level competition. Yeah, and I know, as you said, I know Ante Delia was. I know he was, whooping up on Tybura before the leg break or whatever. But of course, that was very, very early in Ishii's career before Tybura had even came to the UFC. I do think Tybura, over his last few fights, he had the win over Mick Parkin. Even though I thought Mick Parkin could have arguably won that fight, but he still fought well in that fight, and fought well against Johnson Deniz as well. So I do think that he's very well tested in the UFC. And to say until I see it from Delia, I just need to see it, especially at heavyweight. It's so hard to look good in the UFC at heavyweight. So give me Tybura. I'm going to say by decision.
All right. Me and D-Rose split on this one. I am on Delija round 1 KO, while D-Rose is on Marcin Tybura via decision. So move on to the next one. Umar C taking on Brennison Hilario. Umar C let us down in his last fight against Alonzo Minifield. Yeah, indeed it was, where he didn't.
I didn't pick him.
He let me down. He let me down.
Yeah,
for sure.
I did not pick him in that fight. So no, he did not let me. I think if you remember, I actually bet a Minifield, and I only bet it was like $7 or something. But yeah, no, he did not let me down, because I didn't believe him.
With that being said, win over Daeun Jung, win over Tuko Tokos, and that was his first fight in the UFC. He's 29 years old, 6'4", and an 83-inch reach. What a reach! Taking on the Gorilla Brennison Hilario, that's 17-8 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 3 losses, 2 wins. Lost to Azamat Mirzakhanov. He did beat Dair Nergazay. Surprised us all. Lost me money on that one. And then he did beat Kyle Machado via split decision, where I'm sure I lost money on that one too, because I don't ever pick him. Anyway, he did lose to Magomed Gadzhimagomedov and Mingyang Zhang a year and 6 months ago. He's 29 years old, 6'3", and also long reach, 81-inch reach. This is striker versus grappler here, yeah?
From what it seems, yeah.
Yeah. With that being said, I think I'm going to go with Umar C to get back on track. I will never pick Brennison Ribeiro, dude. Give me Umar C to win this fight. Let's go late second round submission. Late second round sub, D-Rose. Which way are you going here?
Man, this is the D Rose Fade Bowl, because these are two dudes who I fade every single time. Either fade them or forget them, and I just don't bet them at all because I just don't think either fighter is that great. Not gonna lie, this is tough for me to pick because again, I was never big on Umar C. I picked Minifield in the last fight. You know, I know, I think you were kind of saying I might have been a little bit wacky, but yeah, I just don't trust C, and I don't trust Ribeiro. Just we've seen his chin go at many times, but we've also seen him get wins that we don't expect him to get. So, I mean, I'm going to go Umar C just because I think C should be able to get it done, but I'm not going to be surprised if Ribeiro gets a sub. I'll just be honest.
All right, that's fair. Moving on to the next one, we have William, the Jaguar Gomi, taking on Robert Rushola. William Gomi, 14-3 overall out of his last 5 fights. 4 wins, 1 loss. Lost to Hyder Emil 5 months ago. Win over Joe Anderson Brito, split decision. Win over Giannis Gamori via, bullshit body kick knockout. Split decision win over Francis Marshall, and a decision win over Jarno Aarons. He is 28 years old, 6 foot, and a 73-inch reach, while Robert Rushola is 11-1 overall. This is his first fight in the UFC. Before that, he is 4 wins and 1 loss. Don't know who that guy is. Soccer kick to the body, though. Knocked him out. 27 years old, 5'10", and a 72.4-inch reach. That's really specific. I don't know who Robert Rushola is, and I haven't done my research on him yet. But with that being said, I've never heard of him. And William Gomi has excellent UFC level competition. Are his fights boring as all shit? Yeah, they are. But it's going to be a William Gomi fight, and William Gomi is going to win the fight via decision. Odds for the fight, -258 William Gomi. Robert Rushola is only +210. So I guess there might be some fans of Robert Rushola, but I mean, I think William Gomi is probably the most solid parlay piece on this card. D-Rose, which way are you going here?
Yeah, I won't even waste too much time on this one. I actually agree with you there that I'm not super familiar with Robert Rushola, except I saw that he came from KSW and he's been a pretty dynamic finisher since he's been over there. But yeah, again, kind of like the UFC level competition thing, and I do think that I think a loss for Gomi in his last fight against Hyder Emil, a loss like that is something that he could work on, because there were still moments in that fight where in that second round, I think just a few more adjustments, and he could have won that second round and arguably won the fight. So he gassed out there in that third round, but I think those are adjustments that he's going to be working on this fight. I think he comes out in this fight looking a little bit better. So give me Gomi by decision.
All right, me and D-Rose both on William Gomi via decision there. Moving on, we got Patricio Pitbull taking on Lusone Kita, Black Panther, if you will. Patricio Pitbull, 37-8 overall out of his last 5 fights, 3 losses, 2 wins. Win over Dan Ige, lost to Yair Rodriguez, and before that, fights in Bellator and Rizin. He is 38 years old, 5'6", and a 67-inch reach, while Lucina Kita is 16-1 overall, undefeated over his last 5. He is 27 years old, 5'9". We don't have a reach yet. D-Rose, this is one where I don't know who to pick here. Odds for the fight, though, are currently Patricio Pitbull +185, the underdog. Lucina Quinta is -225, the favorite. Can you talk me off betting Pitbull? Because I know he's got a lot of competition now, and I know Quinta's coming from Octagon, and I know a lot of people thinks that is a excellent organization, and they've produced some pretty solid talent. But is it the level of Pitbull? Is it the level of beating Dan Ige, which he just now did, dude? I don't know how I can not bet Pitbull as the dog here, and I haven't bet Pitbull yet, so this might be the first time. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just pick Pitbull via decision. It's 3 rounds. Can he get 3 takedowns and some control? I think so. Which way are you going here, man?
I'll tell you this. I will not be able to talk you off the ledge of betting Pitbull because I've already bet him. So so yeah, give me Pitbull here as well. I also think by decision. I think I've seen some of Keith's highlights, and that dude, he's very explosive, good power. He's not a can crusher. I'm not going to say that, but it does look very clear that a lot of the guys that he's fighting are not quite on his level. Versus where I do think the experience level is going to come into play big time for Pitbull here. And even though, obviously he hasn't been in the UFC all this time, he has fought some pretty high level competition over in Bellator and getting some good experience over in the UFC, even in his first 2 fights. And a big thing for Pitbull when he first came in was, and he kind of mentioned it, after the win against Ige, was that, you don't realize what it is going into a UFC fight week. Like the preparation, the media you got to talk to, all the interviews and this and that, and the prior obligations you have before getting into the octagon was a little bit of an adjustment that he had to make. And I wonder if he's a little bit more comfortable with the UFC lifestyle now. I think he is. Give me Pitbull here by decision. I think Pitbull gets it done. I think the level of competition is a big thing for him. I think Keita is going to look good in moments, but I think Pitbull is going to show why he's the old dog.
Fair enough, dude. Me and D-Rose both on Pitbull, the dog, this weekend. Moving on, dude, we got Axel Sosa taking on Reese Skeletor McKee. Axel Sosa is 10-0 over his last 5 fights. He has 4 wins and a majority decision draw. Overall, he's 10-0-1 without 1 draw. He is from Nice, France, 27 years old, 5'11", and trains out of the boxing squad. So he's got solid hands. Reese McKee is 14-6-1. On the other hand, out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins, 2 losses. Lost to Chidi Njokwani and Angelusa. He did beat Daniel Frunza in his last fight 4 months ago. He is 29 years old, 6'2", and a 78-inch reach. D-Rose, you're more of the Reese McKee guy than I am, but they're in France, and something tells me that they are setting Reese McKee up to get smoked this upcoming weekend. But I will say that if he don't get smoked, that this late round 2 and early round 3 is going to be a problem for Axel Sosa, because if you gas, Reese McKee will get you out of there in the 3rd. But I'm going to go Axel Sosa to get Reese McKee out of there in the 1st round. What's your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, I think this is a good fight. The highlights that I've seen from Sola, he's dude's a headhunter, and he will go in there and light you up. And I think Reese McKee, he's getting a little bit of a swagger back. He got that finish over Daniel Frunza. I thought that fight should have been stopped in the 1st round. Now, thankfully, the doctor came in, in between the corner and saw how messed up Frunza's face was, and called the fight. But that fight could have been stopped in the 1st round. Like, Frunza was out on his feet multiple times. And I do think that he got that split decision against Chidi Njokwani, where I thought he arguably could have won. So Reese McKee has looked pretty good in his last few fights. I want to go UFC level competition here. Axel Sola is coming in, with the backing of the crowd. That crowd is going to be absolutely bonkers, but I think Reese McKee is going to do his best to take the crowd out of it. I think you're going to see a lot of, wrestling clinch exchanges. I think Reese McKee is going to play his range because he's going to be the taller, bigger guy. And as soon as Sola goes to crash in, I think Reese McKee, you're going to see takedowns of clinches and maybe some little dirty work in the clinch with some elbows and stuff. But I think Reese McKee gets it done here. Give me Reese McKee by decision.
Fair enough. Odds for the fight are currently Axel Sola is -135, the favorite. Reese McKee is +114, the dog. So D-Rose on the dog on this one. We are split for the 4th time tonight. D-Rose, we finally got some different fight picks, man. Like, because for the past few weeks, we just got like one different pick, and it's like Cody Brundage.
Yeah, and not one to put our pick champ of the week on the line for one Cody Brundage or Mahachate.
Yeah, man, not too fun. But I did break the streak of flip flopping back and forth. Finally, dude, it finally happened because I think it was 8 weeks straight. Me and you were flip-flopping back and forth. 2 months, dude.
Yeah, it's getting a little ridiculous at this point, but I know you broke the
Hey, but I
streak,
have it for 2
but
weeks straight. Finally broke
but
it.
I'm getting the streak back. So we gonna get this thing back over here, and we're gonna keep it over here for a few weeks coming in.
All right.
So let's get these shakes right.
All right, whatever you say, brother. All right, up next we got the Zulu Warrior Balaji Oki taking on Mason the Dragon Jones. A lot of dragons in the UFC. But Balaji Oki 10-2 overall out of his last 5 fights. He is 4 wins, 1 loss. His loss is to Chris Duncan via the choke, where that was actually hilarious. Like he was like out, didn't know he was out, started punching him, and then he was like, "Hey ref, this guy's out on top of me," and then the ref stopped it. So kind of crazy there. And then he has a win over Michael Aswell 2 months ago. 29 years old for Balaji Oki, 5'10" and a 73-inch reach, while Mason the Dragon Jones is 16-2 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, he is 5-0. His last fight was a UFC fight against Jeremy Stephens, where he beat the shit out of Jeremy Stephens, but it was a barn burner, dude. He's down to throw down. You know, he's there for it. That happened 3 months ago. He is 30 years old, 5'10" and a 74-inch reach. D-Rose, I'm going to go with the returning second fight now, Mason Dragon Jones, to just mollywop Balaji Oki all 3 rounds and get a clear 30-27 decision win. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, this one is one
close fight too.
I'm like the odds. Yeah, I'm very much up in the air on this, man. I mean, I could justify each guy. I will say the biggest thing that's making me hesitate for Balaji Oki is that I picked Chris Duncan going into that fight, so pat me on the back for that one. I've been a Chris Duncan backer for a little bit ever since his Contender Series fight, really. But man, Dave, you hate. I mean, you ain't lying, but you hate. You hate.
Yeah, we're on Tapology, brother.
Yeah, this is one again. I'm up in the air in this fight, but I can see bright sides for both guys. But yeah, Mason Jones is a big dude, and it looks like I don't know what it was, but did he like get bigger, or was Jeremy Stephens just that small going into that last fight?
He was fighting Jeremy Stephens,
Yeah, but man, my biggest thing for Mason Jones, his fight IQ is just not great. Like that's what makes me hesitate.
Not great. He's just willing to throw down, dude.
Yeah, but Balaji Oki has power, and that's one thing that could get you set up, man. So again, Oki didn't look great against Aswell, but he was rocking Aswell a lot, and he can crack, and Mason Jones gets cracked. So this is a fight that's up in the air. I'm going to take Balaji Oki as the dog here. One of those I'm staying as far away from as I can in terms of betting. But I could see a path to victory here for each guy. But Mason Jones makes too many bad decisions in fights. I think he leaves himself open, and Balaji Oki may take advantage and get it. Mason Jones has not been finished yet, man. That's crazy. Let's go the first finish defeat in Mason Jones' career. Let's go second round knockout for Balaji Oki.
In Matt's words, Mason loves having a dick measuring contest. All right, D-Rose. Me and D-Rose split for the 5th time tonight. I'm on Mason Jones, D-Rose on Balaji Oki. Moving on to the feature fight of the night. We got the Baltic Gladiator, Modestas Bukauskas, taking on the Bear Jew, Paul Craig. Modestas Bukauskas is 18-6 overall out of his last 5 fights. Somehow is 4-1. Split decision win over Iwan Kutalaba. Knocked out Rafael Sequeira. Win over Marcin Prochniel, arm triangle. Lost to Vitor Petrino, and then win over Zach Palga. He is 31 years old, 6'3" and a 78-inch reach, while the Bear Jew, Paul Craig, is 17-9-1 overall out of his last 5 fights. He has 3 losses, 1 no contest, and a win over Andre Manuz 2 years ago. So Paul Craig hasn't won in 2 years. He is 37 years old, 6'3" and a 76-inch reach. Is this going to be? Yeah, it's going to be at 205 once again. D-Rose, what are the odds for this? Paul Craig plus 280, Modestas Bukauskas minus 355. Give me the Bear Jew, Paul Craig, to get what Paul Craig does, some form of triangle armbar. Paul Craig via second round submission, D-Rose. I don't know if I picked any dogs. Paul Craig's going to be my big dog this week. I think he submits Modestus Bukauk ass. All right. What's your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, that's a you want to talk about a gamble. That's a gamble because taking Paul Craig at this point.
Hey, it's Paul Craig, GM3, one and the same, dude.
Yeah, but GM3's been getting wins here recently. Where
I mean, to be fair, Paul Craig looked all right against Adolfo Borralho.
I mean, we'll agree to disagree, but I think I think Modestus Bukauskas gets it done. I mean, there's just again for Paul Craig, his big thing is that no danger in the hands, so he has to get the fight down to the ground, and everybody knows what to anticipate at that point. And I think Bukauskas has gotten his swagger back since he's came back from Cage Warriors. Got a few dubs, came back, and he's looked good in some fights. Finally getting some finishes put together now. I don't think he's going to finish Paul Craig. I think, unfortunately, this is going to be a little bit more of a boring fight. I think Paul Craig is going to pull guard, and I think Bukauskas is basically just going to stay in top position and stay safe for as long as he can. But give me Bukauskas by decision here.
Fair enough. Me and Darrow split for the 6th time tonight, man. We got 2 fights left that I'm pretty sure we're going to agree on. Up next, co-main event of the evening, we got the God of War, BSD, Benoit Saint-Denis, taking on One Shot, Mauricio Hufi. BSD is 14-3 overall out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins, 2 losses. Win over Kyle Prepolek, lost to Renato Moicano, lost to Dustin Poirier, win against Matt Frivola, and win against Thiago Moises. He is 29 years old, 5'11", and a 73-inch reach. One Shot, Mauricio Hufi is 12-1 overall, 29 years old, 5'11", and a 75-inch reach. Currently, odds for the fight are plus 150 for Benoit Saint-Denis. Mauricio Hufi is minus 180. Right here, right in front of my face, what is a William Gomi Hufi parlay? Plus 115? I think that's easy money. William Gomi, Mauricio Hufi. I think that's the bet to make this weekend if you would like to double up your money. You heard it here first. I think a lot of people, including myself, was interested. Can BSD get Hufi down and we see what Hufi's ground game looks like? And the more I think about it, I don't think so. I think Mauricio Hufi's a big guy for lightweight. I know he's listed the same as BSD, but watch Hufi be 2 inches taller than BSD at weigh-ins. It's not going to surprise me one single bit. Mauricio Hufi, just the way he floats with his footwork, I don't think BSD is going to be able to get in close enough on his hips to even be able to take Hufi down. I think he's got solid power, solid footwork, clean hands, dude. Just the way that he was able to bust up, James Rodriguez for all 3 rounds, old fucking Uzi face, dude. He's got power that lasts all 3 rounds, got the cardio to go all 3, where I don't think BSD does. And I think Mauricio Hufi ends up knocking BSD out probably in round number 1. Probably with his hands, though, man. I think it's with his hands. I don't think it's with a kick. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think for me, I just think BSD just takes too much damage. While he's a good fighter, he walks forward a lot and he walks into big shots. He slowly applies his pressure, so I do think that the way that he is to win is if he's able to avoid the big shots and just start putting that pressure on Hufi, getting him up against the fence, having Hufi wear his weight, work on him. Because if there is a moment where, let's say, if there's like a minute left in the first round and BSD hasn't been hit too cleanly, and all of a sudden we see Hufi taking some big deep breaths, then I might be a little bit more hesitant. I'm kind of tucking my collar because I'm like, hey, BSD, we've seen him put this pressure on and kind of break guys as the fight goes. But I think Hufi's just too clean, man. He's too clean. He's not going in there to get into a scrap. He's going in there. He adds the similar saying to Izzy, he doesn't throw in hope, he aims at fires. And he is precise and he is consistent with what he is looking to set up, I think Hoofy's a bad matchup for BSD, man. Good counter striker, can kind of use his footwork, flow in and out. I think it's a big punch that that BSD walked into. I think it's an uppercut. I'm going to go round 2 KO. I think Hoofy, I think he kind of gets the feeling out process there in the first round, and as soon as he gets his timing, I think he sets BSD up for an uppercut as BSD kind of shoots in for a sloppy takedown and puts him out. So give me Hoofy second round KO.
Fair enough. And if you guys are not familiar with Mauricio Hoofy, he fights just like prime Conor McGregor at 145, dude. It's just like so clean, man. But yeah, me and D-Rose both on Mauricio Hoofy this weekend. Main event time. If y'all haven't already, do you boys a favor, hit that thumbs up button, because the YouTube algorithm, they ain't going to pick us up. We've been gone for 2 weeks. We need you guys to help us out. Hit that thumbs up button, share it, leave us a comment, do whatever you got to do to help us get back in the YouTube algorithm. Y'all guys know how that works at this point. We got the main event here. Nasruddin Imavov taking on Caio, the natural Borralho, the French-Russian sniper. Nasruddin Imavov is 16-4 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, he is 4 wins and 1 accidental head clash, no contest. He is 29 years old, 6'3" and a 75-inch reach, while Caio Borralho is 17-1 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, he is 5-0, 32 years old, 6'1" and a 75-inch reach. So Nasruddin Imavov going to be a little bit taller, but it looks like the reach will be the same. I think Imavov's looked a little bit better over his last few fights, seeing that he can go all 5 in the Brendan Allen fight, which, was a close fight. I really hated this Izzy fight, dude. I was just mad at that fight more than anything because the whole eye poke and all that. Jared Cannonier fight, a little bit of an early stoppage, but he was getting beat up. The one thing that I do want to point out, aside from the Roman Dolidze fight, is even like in the Roman fight, there's no one that's offering clean boxing here as well as the takedown and control threat. It's kind of one or the other. Izzy's got the striking. Brendan Allen had the ground threat, but absolutely, no threat on the feet there. But he was still kind of touching up Imavov a little bit in that fight too. The Cannonier fight, okay, that's older Jared Cannonier. And Dolidze, he wants to get it to the ground, but he don't know how to get there, so he just wings hooks. As where Caio Borralho is kind of the complete package, D-Rose. And, if you remember from our podcast earlier in the year, one of my sneaky predictions was that if Khamzat did not have the belt at 185, that Caio Borralho was going to be your title holder by the end of the year. But Khamzat's got the belt now. I think Caio Borralho wins this fight, man. And call me crazy if you want. I think Caio Borralho's got better boxing here. I think he's got better grappling here. The only thing Imavov might have a little bit better is his footwork and his kicks. So I'm going to go Caio Borralho to get the decision win this weekend against Nasruddin Imavov as the slight favorite. Caio Borralho minus 130, Nasruddin Imavov plus 110. What's your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, this is a close fight. I think it's a very good fight, and I do think that the winner of this fight does go on to, I think, regardless of what happens with RDR and Fluffy, unless that fight it just ends up being like a knockdown, drag out war.
And then in that case, there would be some 6 months medical suspension for them, So even still, we'd have to wait still.
Yeah. I still think that the winner of this fight is the one that goes on to get the title. Nasruddin Imavov, he's very well tested at this point. Fought the who's who, fought a lot of good guys, and he's been pretty active up to this point as well. Caio Borralho, kind of the complete package. Some would say the leader of the fighting nerds. He's kind of regarded as the head coach, and he's one that he's invested a lot of his time into the fighters in the gym and trying to get those guys better and everything. So I do like his IQ in terms of a fight as well. And I think that it's a very one match fight. For me, I think the big thing is going to come down to, I do agree that Caio has good boxing, but I would kind of almost flip the question to say, I know you say who has Nasruddin fought who was quite like Kaio. I guess I would almost flip the question back to you and say, who has Kaio fought who was, quite like Nasruddin? And I would say nobody really. And I would say, level competition too. I would say, goes with Imavov. He's fought Chris Curtis. He's fought.
I would say the Abus Magomedov fight's pretty close. They don't fight too.
Got one round of gas though. Yeah. Like a boost. You want to talk about,
and as well as the Magomedov fight as well. But that's kind of how he fights as well. So he's at least seen the style. Maybe not the level, but he's at least seen a similar style.
But let's just go back to like their last 5 fights. Kyle Borralho has beaten Makhmud Muradov, not in the UFC, Michal Olszewski, who is now a part of the Fighting Nerds, Abus Magomedov, who we're still not sold on, Paul Craig, who is not a middleweight, and Jared Cannonier, who he couldn't finish after Nasruddin had finished him. So Nasruddin's fought Sean, and we don't even count Sean Strickland, who he's also fought Sean Strickland, and he lost the fight, but he fought Sean Strickland on short notice. Chris Curtis, Roman Dolidze, Jared Cannonier, Brendan Allen, Israel Adesanya. Nasruddin gets it done, man, in my opinion. I've doubted him too many times, and I think it's times now. The athleticism, the footwork, the striking, I think it's all come together for him here. Big moment here in Paris. And look, I'm just being honest. I think the year and some change off for Kyle Borralho is not helping him whatsoever. Versus, will be Imavov's 3rd fight over the last year, and I think that's him staying fresh and ready for the moment. So give me Imavov here by decision, get it done.
All right, fair enough, Theros. We are split a bunch of times, 7 different times total on the night. I'm going to go ahead and save my picks before I forget to. Stop sharing my screen. We'll go back to my ugly face and D-Rose's beautiful face. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different fights to pick, and as well as our trusty trying to get back on the track fisting of the week, D-Rose. So whichever one you want to do first, fisting of the week or pick champ. 3 different fights, or let me know who you think gets fisted on Saturday.
We can do. Let's do pick champ real quick because I'll go ahead and get that knocked out the way. Let's do. These are the fights that we're keeping in for the pick champ. Let's go Sam Patterson, Trey Waters. Let's go Modestas Bukauskas, Paul Craig. And let's go the main event. Let's go Nasruddin and Kaio.
You're really gonna fuck. You're really gonna fuck me over with Paul Craig and Bukauskas. But I mean, if you're confident in Modestas Bukauskas as winning the pick champ, I'll pick the other side of that most days of the week, dude. That's fine for me.
Hey, you pick Paul Craig though, so that's
and then for the backup, what would you wish? Because it wouldn't surprise me if one of these fall out.
Let's do I guess Mason Jones and Belagioki. They could be the backup.
All right. So that is our 3 to 4 different picks for the pick champ this weekend. First one, Trey Waters, Sam Patterson. I am on Trey Waters. The Rose is on Sam Patterson. Second one is Paul Craig versus Modestas Bukauskas, where I am on Paul Craig and D Rose on Modestas Bukauskas. And our third and final one is Kyle Borralho versus Nasruddin Imavov, the main event. I am on Kyle Borralho, D Rose on Nasruddin Imavov. He's going to be sad this weekend when I win Sam Patterson versus Trey Waters and Kyle Borralho versus Nasruddin Imavov. I'm confident in those two, man. We're going to keep the pick champ over here. We're going to keep it rolling. And fisting of the week, my entry will be Mauricio Hoofy. Mauricio Hoofy.
Yep.
All right.
We're all in.
All right. So there you have it. Different picks this weekend and the fisting of the week as well. So, Antoine, if this gets 30, I trust Kaio in a dogfight. I'm with you, Antoine. Great pod tonight, boys. How's life been treating you? I'm just getting this place ready to go so I can get the F out of here. breakdown for next Tuesday. I have no clue who's fighting next Tuesday, Antoine. I don't think I could give you anything that would help you more than just looking who's fighting and be like, oh, that guy looks tougher. I've done no research, don't know who's fighting at all yet. So
yeah, I would tell you, I treat Dana White Contender Series similar to how Dana White treats it. Like, I have no idea who the fighters are. I just go into the card just expecting a bunch of bangers, just to fill my quick Tuesday night. So
yeah,
I kind of treat it the same as Dana.
I agree. So with that being said, it's going to be all from us here today. You got all of our picks, you got our news, you got all of our recap from all the fights that happened over this past 2 weeks. We did miss you guys over this past 2 weeks. Don't forget that. We love you guys. Don't forget it. But yeah, D-Rose, we got Paris this weekend. We got Noche next weekend. And then we've got Perth the following week. I will break the news here. Got UFC Noche tickets again. So your boy's going third year in a row, all 3 years going to San Antonio. So if you're going to UFC Noche, you might see me there. I actually got this sick Cerveza headband maybe 2 Noches ago. I don't remember. Tatiana Suarez handed it to me. I said, hey, thanks, Tatiana. She said, no problem. And then she gave me her phone number, and I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm taking. So
Did you tell her to bust it down?
I did not tell her to bust it down, Tatiana.
You failed.
Do you have a team for 2025-26 season, Matt? Yeah, I'm just going for the guys with a zebra striped shirts on. That's who I'm going for. I will for sure grab some merch until I buy first.
Your man Wimby.
Yeah, man. All right. With that being said, y'all, that's going to be all from us here tonight. We've been here for 2 hours and 6 minutes on the dot. So if y'all haven't already, hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here and you're not subscribed, what do? You just watch us for 2 hours and you're not subscribed? That's like psychopath behavior to watch something for 2 hours and not subscribe. So hit that subscribe button. Share this with everyone that you think might enjoy the show, or even if you think they might hate the show, just share it anyway. Maybe they'll just click it anyway. Who knows? With that being said, I appreciate you guys for stopping by. I know D Rose appreciates you guys for stopping by, because if not, why would we be here? Why would we here? With that being said, Matt and D Rose, and we'll catch you guys next week for the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast number 174. Catch you guys later. Peace.